It's going to be kind of a brief video. Um, what inspired this video is certain questions that I got about the um, Saint Expedite Rapid Miracle Ritual that we released last week. And I was going to start this off as a troubleshooting type thing. Whether you're doing that or whether you're doing any type of magic, any ritual, whether you're trying to go for a fucking job or whether you, it doesn't matter, you know. But this video is about clearing emotional blocks. And I hate using that word because when you say the word block, it incites an image of a fucking block or a stone or something in your way. And yes, even though that's maybe what it feels like, it's actually something that we're doing on a subconscious level with our energy, you know. And I have a free gift that I want to give to everybody, anybody that wants to use this. Whether you're, like I said, whether you're doing any type of magic or whether you're, it doesn't matter, you know. The magic I discovered is really when you start opening up to yourself, because, and I'm going to explain what I mean. So I started actually using, I was led to use this particular tool, a modality, when you are programming your subconscious mind, okay? The name of this modality that I started using, and it was interesting because I was led to it by somebody who's no longer here, but he still comes around and gives me shit. You know what I mean? He still comes around. I actually seen him, you know, a couple days ago. So this is relatively new as far as my experimentation. Always the scientist, always the guinea pig. That's right, your soy baby, ShanGO Ray. But so somehow I was led to this concept of switchwords. I had vaguely heard about it before, didn't really pay attention, and I'm not going to go too much into what switchwords are. I will summarize for the sake of this video that they are a way to program your subconscious mind using like one word, or maybe you string a couple words together, like 3 or 4 words together. It's not about the definition of each word and the way that you use them is pretty fucking powerful, because it really does bypass the subconscious, I mean the conscious mind, versus like, you know, trying to use affirmations and things. When you're constructing phrases and paragraphs and stuff, like, you're automatically, you know, enacting the conscious mind. But what I started finding as I started experimenting with these switch words was something called a feedback loop. Okay, now let me just pause there, because for those of you who want to know, like I personally, I was led to something which immediately led to something else. I hopped on Amazon and I found this particular book. It was only $3.99. I bought it, started reading it, and you can basically start reading and get to using like really fast. But you know, it is good when you're doing something new sometimes to satiate, to satisfy the conscious mind with some type of an intellectual understanding, so you can just kind of get that out the way. But one thing I noticed in particular with using switch words is what is called the feedback loop. And basically, if I can lack it up and you know, make it simple, you know, let's say you using switch words to for something in particular, whether it's whatever, doesn't matter. As you start, chanting these words or whatnot, um, a lot of times if you have anything that is opposing that within you, okay, these like emotional blocks, these, you know, these suppressed emotions, shit's gonna start coming up. Um, and when you use these words, in general, you want to be present and you want to have the feeling of your intention definitely here. You want to stay with your intention. Conversely, there's other ways to use it where you kind of go a more roundabout way. So if you have a lot of resistance to something, you can actually chant these words while you're, doing other activities. And it reminds me a lot of kind of like Bij mantras and stuff like that because eventually when you start chanting these words or whatever, the point is you don't want to get fixated on what the technical meaning of what that word may have been because it's different when you're using it as a switch word. But the feedback loop, let me not digress. The feedback loop, though, if you're staying present with it while you're doing it, invariably, if you have anything that is needing to get your attention, which may even be reflected as to why you want this or why you're going for that on the outside, the feedback loop is going to start being you're going to start feeling these things bubble up. Some things are going to start coming up. You know, you may even be led to another word. You might, it goes on and on and on. But my point is, things started coming up, and I mean, I know the human inclination when it comes to a lot of this shit is to just not deal with it in the first place. Like, if it was a pleasurable thing, and when you hear about all these, you hear about, doing the work and doing the shadow work and, releasing these traumas. It's not fucking fun, especially in the outset, especially at the beginning. It can be painful to downright, terrifying, depending on, what is coming up, what traumas you may have had buried. And I, if you have a willingness to actually finally let them show you what they want to show you, or whatever, or sometimes just acknowledge that this is how you really fucking feel. Okay, because I already know there's a lot of you out there already. I could feel it. I could feel like the guilt. There's a lot of remorse, a lot of regret, and there's a lot of shame. And sometimes the shame is like, I'm ashamed I even feel this way, or I'm ashamed, whatever it is. Shame. One line from this book, it said, shame is one of the biggest barriers to the truth. And some of you have glimpsed the tip of the iceberg because when you sit down to actually intend something, you're strictly coming from here. You're not coming from here because it's almost like you can't even, just to even sit down and figure out what you really want is an arduous task for a lot of you. And, to create these emotions, to sustain these emotions, and the kicker is when you start repressing, when you start trying to bury them, when you start trying to resist them, all these things use your life force. And you wonder why you got no energy. You know? And the truth be told, like, all the while, the block is the actual key, to freedom. And it sounds very cliche. And it sounds, Some of you probably have a bunch of different sayings that you can intellectually spatter off about that. But me personally, just kind of sharing my own. And this ain't about switchwords. This ain't about none of that. This is about, when I say clearing, a lot of us want to get rid of this stuff more so as a means to an end. We're trying to get something. We're trying to be something. So we think, And this shit's in the way, you know. It kind of reminded me, like those of you with children, especially that are like, 2, 3, 4, 5, when they start getting really chatterboxy and they, mom, dad. And eventually you trying to do something, you be like, what? And the only reason you're saying what is a means to an end. So they'll shut the fuck up so you could keep doing what you, so you won't be disturbed. As opposed to, kind of getting down to their level and saying, what's going on? And actually being present with that and actually wanting to know what, you know? So I had an experience where, some things started coming up. And as uncomfortable as it felt, it was weird because at the same time, I didn't want to just get rid of it. In a certain way, almost like I don't want you to go yet until you're ready to go. Until, and it's not even necessarily about showing me or, you know, what can I do for you, because when you start getting into this shadow work or you start, transmuting is really what you're doing. You're not clearing away. When I hear clear away, I think of like delete, I think of, it's here and now it's just gone, you know. But since we're dealing with emotions and emotions trapped in your organs, it's energy. And energy can't be destroyed. It's not going to go anywhere. It can only be transformed, And a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, sometimes just giving it its light, its time, its spotlight, its attention, giving attention to it. Sometimes you think you're giving attention to your inner demons or your inner, whatever you got going on, but you're really giving attention to the resistance of it. There's a huge fucking difference. You did. So, I was willing to go down the proverbial rabbit hole of me. And wherever it was going to take me, whatever was going to show me, whatever sensations I experienced, whether it's something I seen, something I heard, something I smelled, whatever. I had absolutely no agenda on how this shit should go. I didn't even want to have an agenda on how it should go. Because once you start having an agenda, you're bringing in, once again, you're having a conscious mind. Just like a lot of us think we know, oh, well, I know this is the problem, and it's like, that's all just right up here, and sometimes you can't be farther from the truth. It might be an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot of what the real deal problem is, or I won't even say problem, it's just, there's some of you right now who have been carrying certain things around, certain traumas. And logically speaking, it's not your fault. But on an emotional level, being that it happened when you was a child or very, very young, there's that childlike emotional aspect of you that says it is my fault, And once again, we're talking with that brings the whole shame thing around and stuff like that. And, sometimes even just to keep it real with ourselves, if you can't be vulnerable with yourself, you may think you're being strong, but you're not. It's just like control. And the old saying, you know, if you can't give up control, then you ain't never had it in the first place. You know? So my gift is I actually created this for me. I didn't go and create this for y'all. This was just something that, I wanted to incorporate into my own adventure, if you will, and just to see. Not trying to rush anybody, not trying to rush anything out or trying to, you know, get rid of something just for the sake, just as a means to an end to get something else. And it's an MP3. It's totally free. Um, you can, there's a link in the description box that leads to a Google Drive, and just download the shit, you know. Now, it does use Switchwords. I got some, kind of like subliminal Ho'oponopono shit going on. And I incorporate a solfeggio tone of 528. Uh, just real briefly, you can use this, like, for example, you put it on your phone and it's real low, and you can just put it on loop or something, and you go to sleep, and you can, just because you can barely hear it, your subconscious mind can hear it. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna be real surprised. All right. Um, if you want to take advantage of the tone also while you listen to it, you can definitely listen. I would suggest listening with headphones, because a lot of the speakers for these phones and laptops, uh, you're not getting the full spectrum of the tone, I guess, or something like that. And there's something else to be said about compression for MP3s, but fuck it, we do the best that we can do, right? So, um, you can also listen to it and begin to chant the words. And like I said, if you want a better understanding of what switch words are and how to use them, I most likely will do another video that kind of just deals more or less with the subject of switch words. But that wasn't the point of this video. It was going to be, but it ain't anymore. All right. So that's available too. The link, the Amazon link to the book is also there. So if you wanted to get that, you can. I'm sure it might even be a free PDF floating around. But if not, if you want to actually not be a cheapskate, it's like $3.99 or something like that. So if you want, if not, hey, whatever, that's cool too. But whether you've been trying to troubleshoot certain, your ritual work, or whether this is just all about you, as long as you have a willingness to just go where it wants to take you, have some time alone to yourself, for God fucking sake, you know. I can't think of a better investment of your time, actually. Um, Conversely, too, when these things, these emotions begin to start to transform, and it's almost a lot of them will just do it on their own. They was just waiting for your acknowledgement, for your attention, you know. Things start happening, you know. Things start to shift. You'll start to see more, different synchronicities. But it's not about all that shit, man. It really isn't about all that other shit, or the intention that you originally started with, Maybe your higher self used that intention that you thought you wanted, or, that your ego wanted, as a way to, you know, to lure you, you know, to what's really going on, you know. So that's all I wanted to say and make this video. And it's my intention that recording does, assist some of you, or maybe play its small little insignificant part in your own catalyst of change in whatever way, however way, I got no agenda when it comes to that either. Your work is your work, you know. So, having said that, uh, peace and blessings and all that good shit. All right.